Chapter 1. The last thing Sam Carter remembered was the blinding flash of headlights. 1 second, he was walking home after another exhausting day at work, his headphones playing the soundtrack of his favorite fantasy romance novel. The next, everything went black. "Sir, young master, please wake up." A soft voice echoed beside him. Sam slowly opened his eyes. A magnificent crystal chandelier hung above him, sparkling like a sky full of stars. He blinked. Once. Twice. This isn't a hospital. Silk curtains. A luxurious bedroom. Gold-trimmed furniture. A fireplace. Everything looked like something straight out of a medieval fantasy movie. What happened? A maid standing beside the bedside in relief. "Young Master Sam, thank goodness you're awake." Sam frowned. "Young Master?" Before he could ask another question, a wave of unbearable pain exploded inside his head. Countless unfamiliar memories flooded his mind. A noble family, a grand mansion, an empire, the Ashford family, and Sam Carter. No. His face turned pale. No way. He jumped out of bed and rushed toward the enormous mirror across the room. A young man with neatly combed black hair and sharp blue eyes stared back at him. It wasn't his face. His breathing became uneven. This is impossible. Then he remembered. Last night, before the accident, he had stayed up until 2 in the morning reading his favorite web novel, The Frozen Rose of the Empire, a romance fantasy with political conspiracies, assassinations, and tragic love. His favorite character had always been Chloe Ashford, beautiful, elegant, cold enough to make nobles tremble with a single glance. But none of that mattered now, because he wasn't the hero. He wasn't the villain. He wasn't even an important supporting character. He was Sam Carter, the lazy cousin of the Ashford family, a character so insignificant that readers barely remembered his name. Yet Sam remembered him perfectly, because this version of Sam died before the story truly began. His death lasted less than 2 pages. He accidentally overheard a conspiracy involving the royal family. The assassins silenced him. No heroic battle. No emotion forward. Just dead. Sam slowly counted on his fingers. If today's date is... He froze. His heartbeat nearly stopped. 3 days. There are only 3 days left before I'm murdered. His knees almost gave out. No, I'm not dying because of somebody else's plot. He began pacing around the room. Think, Sam. You're not the protagonist. You don't have plot armor. You don't have magical powers. You don't even have a system. He buried his face in his hands. I'm literally the weakest character in this entire novel. The maid watched him in confusion. "Young master, are you feeling all right?" Sam forced a smile. Never better. Inside his mind, however, I'm doomed. I've been reincarnated just to die again. What kind of terrible luck is this? The maid excused herself to prepare breakfast. The moment the door closed, Sam took a deep breath. Calm down. The novel follows one simple rule. If I stay away from the main characters, I should survive. He nodded confidently. No parties. No royal banquets. No family meetings. No Chloe. No original male lead. No villains. I'll pack my bags, leave the capital, buy a tiny farm somewhere, and spend the rest of my life raising chickens. He smiled proudly. Perfect plan. A loud knock interrupted him. "Young Master Sam." A servant entered and bowed. "Lady Chloe Ashford has requested your presence at tonight's celebration banquet." Sam's smile disappeared instantly. "What? The entire Ashford family has been invited, including me?" "Yes, young master." The servant politely placed a black invitation on the table before leaving. Silence filled the room. Sam stared at the invitation as though it were his death sentence. "I'm finished. If I go, I'll be dragged into the story. If I refuse, the Ashford family will be suspicious." He slowly collapsed onto the bed. Why couldn't I transmigrate into the hero? Or the emperor? Or literally anyone else? Outside the mansion, a luxurious black carriage rolled through the estate gates. Inside sat Chloe Ashford. Her silver hair shimmered beneath the afternoon sunlight. Her expression remained calm and unreadable. She silently reviewed documents while the carriage moved toward the mansion. Without warning, a strange voice echoed inside her mind. "I'm going to die in 3 days." Chloe's eyes widened. She looked around. The carriage was empty except for her. The coachman remained outside. No one had spoken. Then the voice came again. "Whatever happens, I have to stay away from Chloe Ashford. ****. Chloe slowly lowered the document in her hands. Her heartbeat quickened for the first time in years. Who was that? The carriage continued toward the Ashford mansion, and neither Sam nor Chloe realized that from this moment forward, every thought inside Sam's mind would be heard by Chloe alone. Chapter 2. The Ashford mansion had never looked more magnificent. Golden chandeliers illuminated the grand ballroom, while a live orchestra filled the air with elegant music. Nobles from every corner of the empire gathered beneath the towering marble pillars, laughing and exchanging greetings. For everyone else, tonight was a celebration. For Sam, it felt like walking into his own funeral. Standing outside the entrance, he adjusted the collar of his suit and took a deep breath. "I can do this." He nodded to himself. "I'll walk in, eat something, smile a little, and disappear before the plot starts." He pushed open the massive doors. The moment he stepped inside, dozens of eyes turned toward him. Sam immediately lowered his head. No eye contact. Just become invisible. As he quietly walked along the edge of the ballroom, another thought crossed his mind. Wait, where's Chloe? Actually, never mind. I don't want to see her. Asterisk, asterisk. The farther she is from me, the longer I'll live. Across the ballroom, Chloe Ashford had just entered. Dressed in a midnight blue gown, she attracted every gaze without saying a single word. As always, Noble stepped aside to make room for the Empire's famous Ice Queen. She ignored every greeting, ignored every compliment. Then, a familiar voice echoed inside her head. There she is. Wow, she's even prettier than the novel described. Chloe stopped walking. Her silver eyes slowly scanned the ballroom. Again, the voice. She had heard it earlier inside the carriage. But this time, it sounded much clearer. Don't look this way. Please don't look this way. If she notices me, my survival rate drops by at least 50%. Chloe's gaze finally landed on a young man, trying very hard to hide behind one of the marble pillars. Sam. The moment their eyes met, Sam nearly jumped. Asterisco, asterisco, no, no, no. Asterisco, asterisco. Why is she looking at me? Did I accidentally offend her in the original story? Chloe's expression remained unchanged. But inside, she was shocked. The voice. It belonged to him. She slowly walked towards Sam. Every noble in the ballroom stared in disbelief. Lady Chloe Ashford, walking toward the most forgettable member of the family. Sam wanted to run. His instinct screamed at him. Abort mission. Run away. Asterisco no. Stay calm. Running would make me look suspicious. Asterisk, asterisk. Chloe stopped in front of him. Good evening, Cousin Sam. Sam forced an awkward smile. Gee, good evening. An uncomfortable silence followed. Neither of them spoke. Meanwhile, Sam's thoughts refused to stop. Why is she standing here? Please leave. Go talk to the prince. Or the duke. Or literally anyone else. For the first time in years, Chloe almost smiled. He looked calm on the outside. Inside, he was panicking. She decided to test something. Are you feeling well? Sam nodded politely. I'm perfectly fine. Inside his mind. I'm absolutely not fine. My heartbeat is somewhere around 200 beats per minute. If she stands here any longer, I'm going to faint. Chloe had to lower her eyes to hide the tiny smile threatening to appear. So, he wasn't speaking aloud. She was truly hearing his thoughts. Before she could ask another question, several servants entered carrying trays filled with crystal glasses. Champagne, exactly as described in the novel. Sam's eyes suddenly widened. He remembered. Oh no, one of those glasses was poisoned. Not intended for Chloe. Not intended for any noble. It was meant for a servant who had unknowingly witnessed an assassination plot. The servant would collapse within seconds. The incident would be dismissed as an illness. No one would suspect murder. Sam clenched his fists. Should I stop him? No. If I interfere, the story changes. If I don't, an innocent man dies. His breathing became heavier. Across from him, Chloe heard every word. Her eyes narrowed. Poison? Murder? Was this another one of his strange fantasies? Or was it real? The servant carrying the tray approached the center of the ballroom. After serving the guests, he casually reached for the final untouched glass. Just as Sam remembered. No, Sam whispered under his breath. The servant lifted the glass. Chloe moved. Stop. Her calm voice echoed across the ballroom. Everyone turned toward her. The servant froze. My lady? Chloe walked over and gently took the glass from his hand. Without hesitation, she handed it to the captain of the household guards. Have this inspected. The captain looked confused. Is something wrong, my lady? I believe it has been tampered with. The ballroom instantly fell silent. Moments later, a royal poison tester confirmed it. The champagne contained a deadly toxin. Gasps spread through the hall. Several nobles stepped back in horror. The servant who had almost drunk the wine collapsed to his knees, trembling. You saved my life. But Chloe wasn't looking at him. Her gaze slowly shifted toward Sam. He stood completely frozen. She stopped it? How? That wasn't supposed to happen. Did she somehow know? For the first time in her life, Chloe felt genuinely curious about another person. This strange young man had predicted a murder before it happened. He knew things no one else should know. And somehow, his thoughts were reaching only her. As the guests erupted into whispers and the guards searched for the assassin, Sam quietly took a step backward. Then another. Everyone's distracted. Perfect. Time to disappear before something even worse happens. He turned around and began walking toward the exit. Unfortunately, he didn't notice Chloe following a few steps behind, watching him, listening, wondering, who exactly are you, Sam Carter? Chapter 3. The moment Sam stepped out of the ballroom, he let out a long sigh of relief. I survived. For the first time that evening, he smiled. The poison wine was discovered. No assassins came after me, and I didn't accidentally become part of the main story. He dusted off his sleeves. Everything's fine. Then he heard footsteps behind him. Sam slowly turned around. Standing only a few feet away was Chloe Ashford. She looked as calm and elegant as ever. Sam's smile instantly disappeared. Why is she here? Didn't the heroine have important people to talk to? Why is she following the side character? Chloe almost smiled. He was even more entertaining than she expected. She stopped in front of him. Leaving so soon? Sam scratched the back of his head. I don't really enjoy crowded places. Inside his mind, crowded places don't kill me. Following the heroine does. Huge difference. Chloe folded her arms. I see. An awkward silence followed. Sam desperately searched for an excuse. I suddenly remembered I have something important to do. What is it? Sam blinked. Huh? What is this important thing? Inside his head. Think, Sam. Anything. Quick. My cat. Chloe tilted her head. You own a cat? Sam nodded. Yes. Inside. I don't even have a cat. Why did I say cat? Now she'll ask its name. Sure enough. What's your cat's name? Sam froze. Congratulations. You trapped yourself. After several painful seconds. Potato. Chloe looked at him without saying a word. Inside her head, however, she almost laughed. Potato? That was the best excuse he could think of. Sam cleared his throat. He's a very intelligent cat. Please believe me. Please don't ask another question. Instead, Chloe asked another question. What breed is he? Sam's soul nearly left his body. There are breeds of cats? Of course there are. Idiot. After another uncomfortable pause, the fluffy one, Chloe bit the inside of her cheek to stop herself from smiling. She had never met anyone this terrible at lying. Yet strangely, it made him seem genuine. Before Sam could embarrass himself further, a familiar voice interrupted them. Lady Chloe. A handsome young noble approached with a confident smile. Lucas Sterling, the Crown Prince, the original male lead of the novel. Sam's eyes widened. Oh no, it's him. Lucas bowed politely. I've been looking everywhere for you. Chloe gave a small nod. Your Highness. Lucas finally noticed Sam. And you are? Sam Carthet. Lucas smiled warmly. A pleasure. Everyone in the Empire admired Lucas. Kind, gentle, perfect, except Sam knew the truth. Inside his mind. Fake. That smile is faker than my imaginary cat. Chloe's eyes widened slightly. Lucas continued speaking politely. I hope we'll become friends. Sam forced a smile. I'd rather wrestle a dragon. Realizing he had spoken aloud, Sam's face turned pale. Inside his head. Excellent. You've survived the assassination just to die from embarrassment. Lucas laughed politely. I admire your sense of humor. Humor? Sam almost cried. Chloe lowered her head. If she looked at Sam any longer, she might actually laugh. Lucas turned back toward Chloe. The Emperor wishes to speak with us. I'll be there shortly. Lucas nodded and walked away. The moment he disappeared, Sam sighed with relief. That man is terrifying. He looks like sunshine. But in 3 months he'll secretly frame Chloe for treason. Chloe's heartbeat skipped. Frame her? Impossible. Lucas was the Empire's most respected prince. Everyone trusted him. Yet, everything Sam had unknowingly predicted so far had come true. She looked at him carefully. Do you know Prince Lucas well? Sam nearly choked. What? I asked if you know him. Not really. Inside, I know exactly what kind of monster he becomes. Too bad nobody would believe me. For the first time, a seed of doubt formed in Chloe's heart. Could the perfect prince truly be hiding something? Just then, thunder echoed across the night sky. A heavy rain began pouring outside the mansion. Most guests hurried back inside. Sam smiled. Great. The rain gives me the perfect excuse to leave tomorrow morning. I'll pack everything. Rent a small house. Raise chickens. Grow vegetables. Live peacefully. No conspiracies. No princes. No chloe. He looked up at the dark sky with hopeful eyes. This story can continue without me. Standing only a few feet away, Chloe listened quietly. Then, for reasons she couldn't explain, she made a decision. If he intends to disappear, I'll make sure he doesn't. She turned toward one of her personal attendants. Tomorrow morning, prepare another horse. The attendant looked confused. For whom, my lady? Chloe's eyes remained fixed on Sam's retreating figure. For my cousin. We're going on a trip. Far ahead, completely unaware of the danger behind him, Sam happily hummed to himself. Freedom. Here I come. He had no idea. His peaceful escape plan had already been ruined. Chapter 4. The first rays of sunlight crept through Sam's bedroom window. He had been awake for over an hour. A small suitcase sat neatly on his bed. Inside were only the essentials. A few sets of clothes, some silver coins, a map, and enough dried food to last several days. Sam tied the bag shut and smiled. Goodbye, noble life. Goodbye, palace politics. Goodbye, main characters. I'm officially retiring before the story even begins. He proudly slung the bag over his shoulder. This is the smartest decision I've ever made. Just as he reached for the doorknob. Asterisk knock. Knock. Asterisk. A servant entered and bowed. Young Master Sam. Lady Chloe is waiting for you outside. Sam frowned. Outside? Yes. She said you're leaving together. What? 5 minutes later, Sam stood in the mansion courtyard, waiting beside a luxurious black carriage. Was Chloe Ashford. She wore a simple white traveling dress instead of her usual formal attire. Even dressed casually, she looked impossibly elegant. Several knights stood behind her. 2 magnificent horses waited nearby. Sam blinked. Why is she dressed for a journey? The answer came immediately. You mentioned yesterday that you wished to leave the capital. Sam forced a smile. I did. Yes. So, I've decided to accompany you. Inside Sam's head. What? Asterisco no. This wasn't in the novel. The heroine is supposed to stay in the capital. Chloe calmly watched him. His face remained polite. His mind was complete chaos. This is bad. Very bad. If she follows me, every major event in the novel changes. She quietly asked. Is something wrong? No. Sam smiled. Everything is wonderful. Inside, everything is on fire. An hour later, The carriage rolled through the countryside. Neither of them spoke. Sam stared out the window. Chloe pretended to read a book, but in reality, she was listening. Think. There has to be a way to make her go home. Maybe I should pretend I'm sick? He glanced toward Chloe. No. She'd probably call a doctor. Fake being broke? She'd probably buy me a house. Pretend I join a monastery? He sighed. Nothing works. For the first time in years, Chloe found herself struggling not to laugh. By noon, the carriage stopped beside a quiet village. The knights prepared lunch while the travelers rested beneath a giant oak tree. Sam stretched his arms. Fresh air, birds singing. No notice. No conspiracies. He smiled. This is perfect. Suddenly, his expression changed. His eyes landed on an old wooden bridge crossing a nearby river. His face turned pale. Wait, that bridge. He remembered. This wasn't just any village. It was mentioned briefly in Chapter 8 of the novel. The bridge would collapse today. A merchant caravan would fall into the river. Several innocent people would die. Sam looked at the bridge, then at the travelers beginning to cross it. His heart began racing. No, it's happening now. He clenched his fists. Don't interfere. Changing the story is dangerous. A little girl skipped happily onto the bridge. Behind her, an elderly couple followed. Sam looked away. He couldn't do it. He couldn't pretend not to see. Damn it. He sprinted toward the bridge. Everyone, get off the bridge. The travelers stopped in confusion. What? Sam waved his arms frantically. Move. Now. Some people stepped back. Others stared at him as though he were crazy. A loud crack echoed through the valley. Crack. The wooden beams beneath the bridge snapped. The entire structure collapsed into the rushing river below. The crowd screamed. Several people stumbled backward, just in time. Had Sam arrived even 10 seconds later, they would have fallen with it. The villagers looked at him in disbelief. You saved us. How did you know? Sam froze. Inside his mind. Oops. Standing several meters away, Chloe stared at the broken bridge. Exactly as Sam had predicted. Again, not luck, not coincidence. He truly knew things before they happened. She slowly walked toward him. Sam. He turned around nervously. Yes. How did you know the bridge would collapse? Sam's brain completely stopped working. Inside. Think. Finally. I had a feeling. Chloe raised an eyebrow. A feeling? Yes. Very lucky. Inside. That has to be the dumbest excuse I've ever made. Chloe almost sighed. His excuses were terrible. Yet, every prediction came true. Later that evening, the villagers insisted on preparing a feast in Sam's honor. Children ran around him laughing. The old couple he had saved repeatedly thanked him. The little girl handed him a wildflower. Big brother, you're a hero. Sam smiled awkwardly. I'm really not. Inside, I'm just trying not to die. Watching from across the square, Chloe quietly held the small flower the little girl had given her as well. She realized something. Sam never acted for fame. He never accepted praise. Every time he changed the future, he looked more frightened than anyone else. He wasn't trying to become the hero. He was trying to save people, even when it terrified him. For the first time, the coldest woman in the Empire smiled. It was only for a second, but it was real. Unfortunately, neither of them noticed the hooded man watching from the rooftop. His sharp eyes followed Sam's every movement. So, the stranger whispered, the one changing the future has finally appeared. He disappeared into the darkness. Far below, Sam happily enjoyed his dinner, completely unaware that his actions had just attracted the attention of someone far more dangerous than the villains from the original novel. Without realizing it, the story had already begun changing, and there was no turning back. Chapter 5. The celebration in the village lasted until sunset. Music echoed through the streets as children played around the bonfire. The villagers continued thanking Sam for saving their lives. Sam smiled politely at everyone. Inside his mind, however, he was already making another plan. I need to leave before sunrise. If Chloe keeps following me, the original story will completely fall apart. Maybe I should sneak away while everyone is asleep. That should work. A few steps away, Chloe quietly watched him. She heard every single thought, so he was planning to run away again. She almost found it amusing. Every time Sam made a plan, fate seemed determined to ruin it. After dinner, the village chief approached them. Young Master Sam, Lady Chloe, our village only has one guest house. We have already prepared 2 rooms for you. Sam quickly shook his head. There is no need. I will sleep in the stable. The chief looked confused. The stable? Yes. I enjoy sleeping near horses. Inside his mind, panic erupted. If I stay in the guest house, Chloe will definitely ask more questions. The horses never ask questions. Chloe lowered her head to hide a small smile. This man was truly impossible to understand. The chief insisted. Young master, our guest rooms are clean and comfortable. Please allow us to show our gratitude. Realizing he could no longer refuse, Sam finally nodded. Thank you. As everyone returned to the guest house, Chloe quietly followed behind him. Halfway there, she finally spoke. Sam. He stopped walking. Yes. Do you enjoy traveling? Sam answered without hesitation. Very much. Inside his mind, the truth appeared instantly. I hate traveling. I only left the capital because I wanted to survive. Chloe looked straight ahead. Another lie. Why was he always pretending to be calm while his thoughts revealed everything? Before she could ask another question, the sound of galloping horses echoed through the village. Several royal knights rode into the square. Their silver armor reflected the moonlight. The villagers immediately stepped aside. The captain dismounted and bowed respectfully before Chloe. Lady Chloe, His Majesty has sent an urgent message. Chloe accepted the sealed letter. After reading it, her expression became serious. Sam noticed the change. What happened? Inside his mind, memories from the novel resurfaced. Wait, this letter should not arrive until next week. Did the timeline change again? Chloe folded the letter. The royal palace has requested my immediate return. Sam nearly celebrated. Finally, she's going back. Everything can return to normal. Unfortunately, his happiness lasted only a few seconds. The captain continued speaking. His Majesty has also requested that young Master Sam accompany Lady Chloe. Sam felt the world stop spinning. Me? The captain nodded. Yes, His Majesty wishes to personally meet the man who saved dozens of villagers today. Inside Sam's head, alarms rang nonstop. This is impossible. The Emperor never even knew I existed. Everything is changing. Everything. Chloe quietly observed him. Once again, his prediction had come true. The future was no longer following its original path. The next morning, their carriage began its journey back toward the capital. The atmosphere inside was unusually quiet. Sam leaned against the window, watching the endless fields pass by. I only wanted a peaceful life. How'd I end up being summoned by the Emperor? If this keeps happening, every major event in the novel will change. Then his expression suddenly froze. No, there is one event that has not changed yet. 3 days from now, Lucas Sterling will secretly meet Duke Roland. Nobody knows about it, because everyone believes they're discussing trade. In reality, that meeting marks the beginning of the conspiracy against Chloe. Sam sighed. Too bad I cannot tell her. She would never believe me. Across from him, Chloe slowly closed the book she had been pretending to read. Her heartbeat became heavier. Duke Roland. She recognized that name. He was one of the Emperor's most trusted advisors. Could he really be plotting against the royal family? Sam continued thinking. Lucas really deserves an award. The entire empire believes he is kind and honorable. Only I know he is the biggest liar in the story. Every smile is calculated. Every act of kindness is part of his plan. He never truly loved Chloe. He only wanted the Ashford family's military power. Chloe looked out the carriage window before Sam could notice her expression. Her hands slowly tightened around the edge of her dress. For years, she had respected Lucas. Everyone had. Yet Sam's previous warnings had all proven true. The poison wine, the collapsing bridge. None of them had been coincidences. For the first time, doubt began replacing trust. As the carriage continued toward the capital, another pair of eyes watched from the top of a distant hill. The hooded stranger from the village stood silently beside a black horse. He watched the royal carriage disappear into the distance. A faint smile appeared beneath his hood. So the chosen one has begun changing destiny. Interesting. Very interesting. It seems my long wait is finally over. Chapter 6. The royal carriage arrived at the imperial palace just before noon. Rows of royal guards stood at attention as the massive gates slowly opened. Servants lined both sides of the entrance, welcoming Lady Chloe and Sam. Sam looked at the magnificent palace and swallowed hard. Inside his mind, panic had already taken over. This is bad. Very bad. The Emperor never met me in the original novel. One wrong sentence, and I might lose my head. Why is my life getting harder every single day? Chloe walked beside him in complete silence. She had grown used to the constant stream of thoughts running through Sam's mind. The more she listened, the more she realized something. Sam never worried about becoming famous. He never wanted wealth or power. Every thought revolved around one goal. Stay alive. A royal servant stopped in front of them. His Majesty will receive Lady Chloe first. Young Master Sam, please wait in the Easter Garden. Sam immediately nodded. Yes, waiting sounds wonderful. The less I meet important people, the longer I live. The servant escorted Chloe toward the throne hall, while another servant guided Sam into the palace garden. The eastern garden was peaceful. A small lake reflected the clear blue sky. Colorful flowers covered both sides of the stone path. Sam sat beneath a large tree and finally relaxed. This is nice. No princes, no villains, no assassins, just flowers. Maybe today will finally be peaceful. A few minutes later, footsteps approached from behind. Sam turned around. Standing before him was a handsome young man wearing elegant royal robes. Lucas Sterling. Sam nearly fell off the bench. Why is he here? Lucas smiled warmly. Young Master Sam. May I sit here? Sam forced a polite smile. Of course. Please. Lucas sat beside him. For several moments, neither of them spoke. Finally, Lucas broke the silence. I heard about what happened in the village. Saving so many innocent people was a noble act. You have my respect. Sam scratched the back of his head. I was simply lucky. Inside his mind, another voice answered. Stop smiling. I know exactly who you are. Lucas continued smiling as though nothing had happened. Luck often favors good people. Sam nodded politely. Inside his head, however, he continued thinking. If only everyone knew this man's real face. He is already gathering powerful nobles behind the Emperor's back. He even plans to use Duke Roland as his first pawn. Lucas noticed Sam staring at him. Is something wrong? Sam quickly shook his head. Nothing at all. Inside his mind, another thought escaped. In 3 days, you will secretly meet Duke Roland in the Moonlight Pavilion. That meeting starts everything. Lucas tilted his head slightly. Moonlight Pavilion? He had never spoken about such a place to anyone. Before he could ask another question, a royal guard entered the garden. Your Highness, His Majesty requests your presence immediately. Lucas stood up. Duty calls. I hope we can speak again soon. Sam smiled blithely. I hope we never meet again. Lucas laughed, believing it was another joke. After Lucas disappeared, Sam leaned back against the tree. That was terrifying. Talking to the future villain should count as emotional damage. Meanwhile, inside the throne hall, Chloe stood before the Emperor. Emperor Adrian Ashford carefully placed a document onto his desk. Chloe, the reports from the western villages have reached me. Every witness tells the same story. A young noble predicted the bridge collapse before it happened. Chloe remained silent. The Emperor continued. Tell me honestly, what do you think of Sam Carter? For the first time, Chloe hesitated. She remembered every prediction. The poison wine, the collapsing bridge. Every event had unfolded exactly as Sam had thought. Finally, she answered. He is hiding something. The Emperor nodded. I reached the same conclusion. He walked toward the palace window. Do you believe he is dangerous? Chloe thought for a moment. Then she slowly shook her head. No, if anything, he seems afraid of changing the future. The Emperor turned toward her. Changing the future? Chloe immediately realized she had almost revealed too much. She lowered her head. Forgive me. I only meant that he often predicts danger before it happens. The Emperor looked thoughtful. Interesting. Very interesting. At that moment, another royal messenger hurried into the throne hall. Your Majesty, an urgent report. The Emperor opened the letter. His expression darkened. What is it? Chloe asked. The Emperor handed her the report. Several noble families have secretly disappeared during the past month. No witnesses. No survivors. No clues. Chloe quietly read the report. Then she noticed something unusual. Every missing noble had opposed Duke Roland during recent council meetings. Her eyes narrowed. Sam's thoughts echoed inside her mind once again. Duke Roland is the first piece on the board. She slowly folded the report. Perhaps. Sam had not been exaggerating after all. Far away, inside a hidden underground chamber, the hooded stranger knelt before a giant stone altar. Several black candles burned around the room. Another hooded figure stepped out of the shadows. Has destiny begun to change? The stranger lowered his head. Yes. Everything has started moving earlier than expected. The second figure smiled. Then our time has finally come. Keep watching Sam Carter. If he truly possesses knowledge of the future, he may become either our greatest enemy or our greatest weapon. Chapter 7. The Imperial Palace was quieter than usual that evening. After leaving the throne hall, Sam walked alone through one of the palace gardens. He had expected the Emperor to summon him immediately. Instead, hours had passed without a single message. Sam let out a relieved sigh. Maybe the Emperor forgot about me. That would honestly be the best outcome. He continued walking along the stone path. Inside his mind, another thought appeared. I should leave the capital tomorrow. No, tonight. The farther I get from this palace, the better. Without realizing it, he turned into a narrow pathway, surrounded by tall hedges. The area was completely deserted. Not a single guard was nearby. Hidden on the roof of a nearby building, a masked assassin quietly drew a crossbow. His target was clear. Sam Carter. The assassin slowly pulled the trigger. A poisoned arrow shot through the air. At that exact moment, Chloe stepped into the pathway from the opposite side. Her eyes widened. The arrow was flying directly towards Sam's back. Move, she shouted as she rushed forward. Sam turned around in confusion. What? Before he could react, Chloe grabbed his arm and pulled him aside. The arrow struck a stone pillar behind him with a loud crack. Sam stared at the arrow in disbelief. His face instantly turned pale. An assassin. There's actually an assassin. This was never supposed to happen. The masked attacker immediately fired a second arrow. One of Chloe's personal guards jumped in front of him, knocking the arrow away with his sword. Protect Lady Chloe. Several royal knights rushed into the garden. The assassin realized the opportunity was gone. Without hesitation, he disappeared across the rooftops. The knights chased after him, but within seconds he had vanished into the night. Silence returned to the garden. Sam looked at the poisoned arrow embedded in the pillar. A single scratch would have been enough to kill him. He slowly turned toward Chloe. Thank you. She calmly nodded. You should be more careful. Inside Sam's mind, confusion exploded. Why did she save me? The heroine is supposed to avoid unnecessary trouble. Why does she keep appearing exactly when I'm about to die? This is getting weird. Chloe almost smiled. If only he knew. She had been quietly following him ever since they arrived at the palace. Every strange prediction he made increased the chance that someone would try to silence him. She had decided she would not let that happen. A palace physician quickly examined the arrow. Your Highness, the poison is extremely rare. Death would occur within minutes. Sam swallowed hard. Someone truly wanted him dead. A royal guard approached Chloe. Lady Chloe, His Majesty requests your presence immediately. She nodded. Before leaving, she looked at Sam. Until the assassin is captured, you will remain under palace protection. Sam immediately shook his head. That is not necessary. Inside his mind, another voice screamed. No, absolutely not. Keeping me inside the palace is the opposite of protection. This place is where half the villains live. Chloe ignored his silent protest. It has already been decided. She walked away with the royal guards. Sam watched her disappear into the distance. Then he looked toward the dark sky. My peaceful retirement is officially impossible. Somebody wants me dead. The Emperor wants to meet me. The heroine refuses to leave me alone. Can this day get any worse? At that exact moment, another palace servant hurried toward him. Young Master Sam, His Majesty has arranged a private residence for you inside the palace until the investigation is complete. Sam slowly closed his eyes. Of course he did. Meanwhile, inside the throne hall, Chloe reported everything that had happened. The Emperor listened carefully. An assassination attempt inside the palace. Someone is becoming desperate. Chloe nodded. They were targeting Sam. The Emperor remained silent for several moments. Finally, he spoke. Increase the palace security. No one is allowed to approach Sam without my permission. Chloe hesitated before asking a question. Do you believe someone is trying to stop him because he knows the future? The Emperor looked toward the palace window. I do not know what Sam knows, but one thing is certain. Every person who wishes him dead is giving us another reason to keep him alive. Far beyond the palace walls, inside an abandoned temple, the masked assassin knelt before the hooded leader. I failed. The leader remained silent. After several moments, he finally spoke. Did Lady Chloe interfere again? Yes. The leader slowly clenched his fist. Interesting. She's protecting him far sooner than expected. It seems the future has already begun changing. Then his cold voice echoed through the temple. Prepare the second plan. If arrows cannot kill Sam Carter, we will make the entire empire hunt him instead. Chapter 8. The next morning, the imperial palace buzzed with activity. Servants hurried through the corridors carrying documents and trays of food. Royal guards stood at every entrance, their expressions more serious than usual. News of the assassination attempt had spread throughout the palace. Sam sat alone in the residence the emperor had assigned to him. He stared blankly at the breakfast on the table. I cannot keep living like this. Yesterday, it was poisoned arrows. Tomorrow it might be poison. The day after that, someone might drop a chandelier on my head. This world is trying very hard to kill me. A knock came at the door. Before Sam could answer, Chloe walked inside. She was accompanied by only one maid. Sam immediately stood up. Lady Chloe. Good morning. Good morning. She noticed the untouched breakfast. You have not eaten. I was not hungry. Inside his mind, the truth was completely different. What if the food is poisoned? Actually, the tea could be poisoned too. Maybe the chair is poisoned. Can furniture be poisoned? Chloe almost laughed. His imagination became more ridiculous every day. She walked to the table, picked up Sam's teacup, and calmly drank from it. Satisfied? Sam blinked. She actually drank it. I guess the tea is safe. He finally picked up his own cup. Thank you. A faint smile appeared on Chloe's face. It disappeared before anyone else could notice. Just then, a royal guard entered the room. Lady Chloe, His Majesty requests your presence in the council chamber. She nodded. I will be there shortly. After the guard left, Chloe looked back at Sam. Remain inside the palace today. Do not wander alone. Sam nodded obediently. Of course. The moment she left, another thought appeared in his mind. The second she disappears, I'm climbing over the back wall. Chloe stopped walking for a brief moment. Without turning around, she quietly instructed the maid beside her. Place additional guards near the western wall. The maid looked confused. Yes, my lady. An hour later, Sam quietly opened the window of his room. Perfect. No guards. He smiled confidently. See, overthinking never helps. He climbed onto the windowsill. Just as he was about to jump, 4 royal guards stepped out from behind the nearby bushes. Good morning, young Master Sam. Sam slowly climbed back inside. Never mind. Fresh air is overrated. Far away, Chloe heard nothing. But somehow, she already knew exactly what had happened. Later that afternoon, Sam wandered through the palace library instead. At least books cannot assassinate me. As he searched through the shelves, he accidentally bumped into someone. Several books fell onto the floor. I am so sorry. Sam quickly bent down to pick them up. The other person did the same. Their hands touched the same book. Sam looked up. It was Chloe. Sorry. I did not see you. It was my fault. They both stood up. For a brief moment, neither of them spoke. The library was completely silent. Sunlight poured through the tall windows. Dust floated gently through the air. Sam glanced at Chloe. She really is beautiful. Even prettier than the illustrations from a novel. She always looks calm. I wonder if she ever gets embarrassed. If this were my original world, she would definitely become a famous actress. Chloe remained perfectly still. A warm feeling slowly spread across her face. He was complimenting her. There was no audience. No hidden motive. Just an honest thought. For the first time in years, Chloe felt her heartbeat become slightly faster. Sam continued organizing the books. Too bad. She will probably fall in love with Lucas later. That idiot does not deserve her. Chloe's expression changed. The warmth disappeared. Instead, determination filled her eyes. No, she would discover the truth herself. She would not blindly trust anyone anymore. As Sam returned the final book to the shelf, he smiled politely. I should leave. Enjoy your reading. He turned and walked toward the exit. Just before reaching the door, another thought escaped. I hope she finds someone who truly loves her. She deserves to be happy. Sam disappeared into the hallway. The library became silent once again. Chloe stood alone between the towering bookshelves. For several moments, she did not move. Nobody had ever wished for her happiness without expecting something in return. Every noble wanted her family's influence. Every political ally wanted power. Every admirer wanted status. Only Sam expected nothing. He simply wanted her to live a happy life. A small smile slowly appeared on her face. This time, she did not hide it. Outside the library, hidden behind a stone pillar, a palace servant quietly watched Sam walk away. After making sure no one had noticed him, he slipped a folded letter into his sleeve. Moments later, the letter reached a hidden mansion outside the capital. The hooded leader unfolded it and read the report. Sam Carter is now under Lady Chloe's personal protection. The leader smiled. Excellent. Everything is proceeding exactly as planned. If we cannot separate them, then we will destroy the trust between them. Prepare the evidence. Tomorrow, the Empire will learn that Sam Carter is a traitor. Chapter 9. The next morning, the Imperial Palace was unusually tense. Royal guards hurried through the corridors. Servants whispered as they passed each other. Something had happened. Sam rubbed his eyes as he stepped out of his room. Why is everyone looking at me? Did I forget to pay for breakfast? A guard approached him with a serious expression. Young Master Sam, His Majesty requests your presence in the throne hall immediately. Sam's heart sank. That never ends well. Several minutes later, the massive doors of the throne hall opened. The Emperor sat upon his throne. Chloe stood quietly at his side. Ministers, generals, and nobles filled both sides of the hall. Every pair of eyes turned toward Sam. He suddenly had a terrible feeling. This was like a trial. A royal official stepped forward holding several documents. Young Master Sam Carter, you stand accused of conspiring against the Empire. Sam froze. What? The official continued. A witness claims you secretly met with enemies of the Empire before arriving at the palace. Letters containing military information were also discovered inside your residence. The hall erupted into whispers. Sam's eyes widened. Military information? I've never even seen those papers. Someone planted them. The official placed several sealed documents before the Emperor. The palace guards confirmed they were found inside young Master Sam's room. Sam immediately understood. The villains had made their move. This never happened in the original novel. The timeline has completely changed. One of the ministers stepped forward. Your Majesty, the evidence appears convincing. Until the investigation is complete, young Master Sam should be imprisoned. Several nobles nodded in agreement. Sam looked toward Chloe. She remained calm, but her eyes never left him. Inside his mind, Sam struggled to stay calm. Think. Someone wants me removed before I reveal anything else. If I panic now, I lose. The Emperor finally spoke. Sam Carter, do you have anything to say in your defense? Sam took a deep breath. Your Majesty, I have never betrayed the Empire. The documents were planted. One minister scoffed. Do you have any proof? Sam fell silent. Proof? He had none. The hall grew quiet. Then another thought surfaced in his mind. Wait, if Duke Roland planned this, then the next step should happen today. A messenger from the western border will arrive before noon. His report will expose that military supplies have disappeared. Everyone will blame the border commander. But the real thief is Duke Roland. Chloe's eyes narrowed. Every prediction had come true so far. She stepped forward. Your Majesty, I request that the judgment be delayed until noon. Several ministers frowned. One of them spoke. Lady Chloe, why should we wait? She answered calmly. Because if Sam is innocent, the truth will reveal itself before the day ends. The Emperor studied her for several moments. Very well. The hearing is suspended until noon. Sam was escorted to a waiting chamber inside the palace. Two guards stood outside the door. He sat alone in silence. This is bad. Even if the border report arrives, how do I explain knowing about it? Maybe I should just tell everyone I read the novel. No, that sounds completely insane. A few hours later, hurried footsteps echoed through the palace. A royal messenger rushed into the throne hall. Your Majesty, urgent news from the western border. The messenger handed over a sealed report. The Emperor quickly opened it. His expression became cold. The report matched Sam's thoughts exactly. Military supplies had vanished. The border commander had been framed. The entire hall fell silent. The Emperor slowly looked toward Chloe. She said nothing. She simply met his gaze. The Emperor immediately gave a new order. Bring Duke Roland to the palace. Immediately. At that exact moment, Duke Roland was preparing to leave his mansion. A servant rushed into his study. My lord, the Emperor has summoned you. Earlier than expected. Very well. Prepare the carriage. As the servant left, Roland walked to the fireplace. Hidden behind a loose stone was another letter. He removed it and quietly burned it in the flames. No evidence must remain. Far away, inside another hidden hideout, the hooded leader listened to the latest report. The frame failed. The Emperor is now investigating Duke Roland. One of the masked followers lowered his head. What are your orders? The leader smiled calmly. The game has only begun. If lies cannot destroy Sam Carter, then we will force him to reveal his greatest secret. Back inside the palace, Sam looked through the small window of the waiting chamber. Something tells me this nightmare is far from over. For the first time since arriving in this world, he realized surviving might not be enough. Someone was controlling events from the shadows. Someone who knew far more than any character in the original novel. and that person had finally begun making their move. Chapter 10. The throne hall fell silent. Duke Roland stood before the emperor, maintaining his usual calm expression. The investigation had lasted for hours. Every piece of evidence pointed toward him. The missing military supplies, the secret meetings, the forged reports. One by one, the truth came to light. Roland slowly looked toward Sam. For a mere side character, you have caused me quite a bit of trouble. The guards immediately surrounded him. The emperor spoke with a cold voice. Duke Roland, you are under arrest for treason against the empire. Roland looked softly. Treason? Do you truly believe I am the mastermind? The hall became quiet once again. Roland raised his head. You're celebrating too early. There are enemies hidden much closer than you think. Before anyone could question him further, Roland suddenly bit down on a small capsule hidden inside his mouth. Within seconds, blood trickled from the corner of his lips. The palace physician rushed forward. Too late. Roland had taken his own life. The only person who knew the entire conspiracy was gone. The emperor slowly closed his eyes. Search every one of his estates. Leave nothing unchecked. The royal guards immediately left the throne hall. The hearing was over. The nobles quietly dispersed. For the first time since arriving in this world, Sam finally breathed a sigh of relief. I survived. Against all odds, I actually survived. He turned and quietly walked toward the palace garden. The afternoon breeze carried the scent of fresh flowers. Birds sang among the trees. Everything finally felt peaceful. Sam sat beside the small lake. Maybe I can finally leave the capital, find a quiet village, raise those chickens I keep talking about, live a normal life. Footsteps approached from behind. Sam smiled without turning around. Please tell me nobody is trying to assassinate me this time. A familiar voice answered. Nobody. He turned around. Chloe stood only a few steps away. She was wearing a simple blue dress instead of her usual formal attire. For the first time, there were no guards. No servants. Just the two of them. Sam stood up. Lady Chloe, congratulations. Everything is finally over. Chloe looked into his eyes. Is it? Sam blinked. What do you mean? She slowly walked closer. Close enough that only the sound of the lake could be heard. There's something I have wanted to ask you since the day we first met. Sam felt a strange sense of unease. Go ahead. How did you know about the poison wine? Sam froze. How did you know the bridge would collapse? He remained silent. How did you know Duke Roland was dangerous? Sam looked away. I cannot explain it. Chloe nodded gently. I know. Sam looked back at her in surprise. You do? She smiled. A genuine smile that completely melted the cold expression she had always worn. From the first day we met, I heard every thought that crossed your mind. Sam's eyes widened. His mind went completely blank. No, that is impossible. Chloe took another step closer. Every plan to run away. Every terrible excuse. Even the imaginary cat named Potato. Sam's face instantly turned bright red. You heard that? She nodded. Every word. Sam covered his face with both hands. This cannot be happening. I have embarrassed myself every single day. Chloe laughed softly. It was the first time Sam had ever heard her laugh. It was warm, gentle, beautiful. He slowly lowered his hands. Then, you also know. She nodded before he could finish. I know you're not from this world. Sam's heart nearly stopped. I know you have been carrying this burden alone. I know you have been trying to save everyone, even when you believed nobody would understand. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Sam had spent every day hiding his secret. Every smile, every joke, every lie. He thought he had been completely alone, but Chloe had been beside him all along. She quietly reached out her hand. You once wished that I would find someone who truly cared about me. Sam remembered thinking those words inside the library. He had never spoken them aloud. Chloe smiled. I already have. Sam looked at her outstretched hand. A slow smile appeared on his face. Then, may I stop trying to run away now? Chloe laughed again. I would appreciate that. Sam gently took her hand. At that exact moment, the evening breeze swept across the palace garden. Neither of them noticed the figure watching from the highest tower of the palace. The hooded leader quietly lowered a spyglass. So, the bond between them is complete. A faint smile appeared beneath the hood. Excellent. The true game can finally begin. Far below, Sam looked toward the setting sun. For the first time since arriving in this strange world, he felt something he had almost forgotten. Home was not a place. It was the person standing beside him. And whatever challenges awaited them next, they would face them together.